Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel, and in today's episode we'll be starting a new series for Ford Friday with this Ford all-car range for December 1984, January 1985. Hello and welcome back. Now, some of you may be new to Quartzlight. Well, Quartzlight's a car brochure channel. We look at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 1990s. We even sometimes go beyond that scope as well. But if you're interested in cars, car brochures of course, looking back at cars gone by, really this channel is really all about bringing back those memories that these older cars tend to bring back. Then please do consider subscribing, which is completely free, and even becoming a member, which has got a small monthly charge. But certainly either ask me or look on the YouTube homepage about that. But anyway, like I said, today, or in fact when this episode is first being aired, it's a Friday. Every Friday we look at a Ford. This week is no different, and we're starting a new series for this full car range brochure. We sometimes do series because some of these car brochures, particularly the old model car brochures, are huge, so we can't really get them in one episode. So this episode will be primarily a little bit of an introduction to this brochure and the first model up, which will be the Ford Fiesta. So here is today's brochure. It's in really good condition actually for its age. Just quite simply says cars December 84, January 85. Of course, when it says cars, it means the Ford car range at the time. A little bit of a caption at the bottom, I don't know if you can see it or not. It says, Ford cares about quality. That's a different little bit of a tagline, isn't it? And then the Ford badge. I picked this particular brochure because it's such a weird front cover. The last time we looked at a full range brochure for Ford was from the UK, and it was before Christmas, so a few months ago now, and that was when the Ford Sierra Sapphire just came about. Well, this is going back a bit. This is 84, 85. So we have gone back in time a little bit for this one. I picked this one because such a weird picture on it. It's bizarre why it's featuring this car. Unusual little bit of escape, like landscape at the back there as well. Remember, this is a UK car brochure. Weird to see the RS Turbo on the front cover. Maybe comment why you think I'm saying that's a little bit weird to see. It's nice to see in some ways, but bizarre in other ways. But I think we'll talk more about why that's a little bit weird when we look at the Ford Escorts, of course. But today is not the Escorts, it's the Fiestas. But before we get to the Fiestas, of course, we should introduce this brochure in particular. Dealer stamp is a bizarre one. Did they lose the dealer stamp that day? Unusual for it to be written in pen. Paul D. O'Brien at Crystal, and there's his number. I guess he prefers to put his details on there rather than stamping it. Still a little bit weird to see that. The brochure itself tells us it's published by the Car Advertising Department, Ford Motor Company Limited, Brentwood, Essex, England. The code for this brochure is FA221/103, and the date, again, it's repeating that December 1984, January 1985. So we turn the page, tells us the RS Turbo is that front cover shot. Introduction to all the models, so we get a Fiesta, Escort, Orion, Sierra, Capri and Granada in this brochure. Talks about quality on this side. Looks like it showcases what you find with some of these brochures. It does happen to fall when there's a special edition that's out. So you sometimes get special editions within the full range brochure. This particular brochure has the special edition Ford Escort Laser, so I'll probably save that one for the special edition episode. But let's turn the page. So we turn the page, we get this little bit of a showcase talking about the 6-year corrosion assurance and car repairs guaranteed for life. Turn the page, continue with this showcase talking about the world of climate control. And then this rather lovely page actually showcasing Ford's reputation for quality is endorsed by the Brands Hatch Racing School. That certainly looks fun, doesn't it? With these XR3Is going around the circuit. I think we may come back to that actually when we're talking about escorts next week. And then finally we arrive at today's episode showcasing, spoiler it, my favourite Fiesta, the XR2 at this time. Nothing to do with the performance or anything really, other than it's quite an iconic look for the 80s, isn't it, the XR2? It does take me back, although I must admit I've never even sat in an XR2, but it's, just seeing him on the road certainly takes me back to that era. It says Fiesta, the little car that thinks big. Nice. Let's see how that range starts. So here is where the range starts, the Fiesta Popular. And I liked Ford in the 70s and 80s. There's something about those basic Fords, isn't it? You can't get much basic than a Popular. And then if you wanted a few little bits put on, you got a Popular Plus, of course. I don't know why people didn't just move up to an L really, but certainly this is real budget motoring, and there is something I really like about very basic cars. Cars that you really wouldn't have even thought twice about at the time, but now I really like the base models. I struggle to put it into words why I like base models, particular base models Fords so much now. Like I say, I would never have even given them a second look at the time, but now it's like Ford went so far out of the way to make them basic. Different dashboards on some models, etc., where you'd think it would actually be more expensive to do that, but Ford said no, we want to make that distinction and we want to have the basic model super basic. Nice to say the Fiesta starts at, even if you're not going to buy the Fiesta Popular, of course, but also I think there was that little bit of a sort of one-upmanship sort of thing where if you got the Popular, you kind of like wished on your next model you had a slightly higher model. That sort of thing. Or the neighbour might have had a Ghia and you just had the Popular. That sort of thing. Very bizarre, isn't it, really? The top here it says Fiesta Popular. Ford's more for your money Popular. It's fun to drive and inexpensive to run. We'll read the text, we'll come back to the images. So it starts rather bizarrely by saying, gone are the days when small cars were only a little less Spartan than an SAS training camp. The new Fiesta Popular may be economical to buy and own, but there is nothing cut price about its specification. I'm not sure I agree with that first paragraph, but moving down. Like every other model in the Fiesta range, it has sleek new frontal styling to improve aerodynamic efficiency, a revised engine and a completely new interior. The space-saving design provides ample room for 5 adults and their luggage. Again, I'm not sure about ample room. Other key elements include dual circuit brakes with powerful progressive discs on the front wheels, lighter and more responsive steering, a laminated windscreen and a smooth self-adjusting clutch. The suspension provides a comfortable ride allied to sporty handling and sure-footed road holding. It uses McPherson struts up front, where the track has been widened for extra stability, while trailing arms and a clever device called a Panhard rod provide secure location for the back axle. The car rides on 13-inch wheels with grippy 135 SR radial ply tyres. Noise levels have been reduced by new mounts for the 957cc engine that runs on 2-star petrol. Its size may be familiar, but this version has improved new features to improve economy. The official fuel figures are up to 18.5% better than those for the old low compression engine. They include 54.3 miles per gallon at a steady 56 miles per hour and 40.4 miles per gallon on the urban test cycle. The all-new interior includes a neat instrument panel whose thoughtful touches extend to things like a lights on warning, handy storage bins on each door, were previously reserved for the more expensive Fiestas. The seats are trimmed with hardware and cloth, and the front pair recline. Other features include twin sun visors, a carpeted load area, and an anti-dazzle mirror. The long life exhaust system is typical of Ford's concern about long-term running costs. So yes, this is where the Fiesta range starts, and yes, actually they have got more features than what the base models used to have, but as we can see on the dashboard there, it really is a sea of blanking plugs really. The bare minimum, to be honest, and then the main image we can see from the outside the bare minimum. We've just got a driver's door mirror, we don't have any wheel trims, we just have this little centre cap in there. So really as basic as they could possibly do it really, because after all this is your Fiesta Popular and really didn't really expect much on a Popular. One thing I will say, I do particularly like the design of this particular generation of Fiesta. I think it's quite an attractive looking car. Oh, and a bit of a reminder as we peep on the inside, remember this is 1985 in the UK. We're still not putting headrests on the base model, even in 1985, which is crazy because really it is a pretty important safety feature really, but there we go. We're not worried about the Popular drivers obviously, but let's move up as we should do. So moving up in the Ford world meant moving up to a Popular Plus, and you can see straight away we have got headrests in this particular model, so for that alone it's probably worth spending a little bit more just to move up to the Popular Plus, although for most people I think the L was where they wanted to start the range, but nevertheless, let's read the text. It says at the top here, outstanding economy plus mile-eating performance are hallmarks of this roomy, well-equipped car. We'll read the text and we'll come back to these nice images. As its name suggests, the Popular Plus builds on the Popular's solid foundations by blending extra equipment with a choice of engines and transmissions now. Its standard trim, it relies on the Popular's 957cc power unit and 4-speed gearbox. 85, I think it's time for a 5-speed box really, isn't it? But anyway. But alternatively, 1.1 litre engine steps power up to 50 PS and gives a 22% increase in torque for extra pulling power at low engine speeds. In fact, an excellent 83 Nm is delivered at only 2700 RPM. Even more remarkable figures are provided by choosing a Popular Plus powered by Ford's sophisticated all-new 1.6 diesel engine. It combines a top speed of just over 90 miles per hour with the ability to cover 74.3 miles on just one low price gallon. So I always thought the diesels were they're very miserly engines. You really were planning on doing a lot of miles and you really didn't want to spend much on your fuel to do that, but who would want to do a lot of miles in a Fiesta? Always a little bit of a strange one, but certainly quite incredible fuel economy. So it continues with your low price gallon at a steady 56 miles per hour. This new breed of diesel represents 140 million investment in advanced technology. Linked to the 4-speed Fiesta gearbox, the bigger engine gives an astonishing 57.6 miles per gallon at 56 miles per hour and 45.6 on the official urban cycle. Like the Popular, this model takes to the road complete with a lockable filler cap for the 7.5 gallon fuel tank. Towing hooks at the front and rear, twin reversing lights neatly integrated with new rear lamp clusters and Ford's long life exhaust system. Tough bodyside mouldings protect the paintwork and There are mirrors on driver and passenger doors. So there we go, we get a passenger door mirror now as well. So a tailgate decal proclaims the Popular Plus's identity. Inside, tweed patterned seat covers add another touch of class, and the front seats have adjustable A-frame head restraints. The fully carpeted rear package trays moulded recesses prevent small objects slithering from side to side. Folding the tray and the back seat increases luggage space. Other equipment fitted as standard include halogen headlights, a digital clock, and fingertip switches on the right of the instrument panel for the rear fog light, tailgate wash wipe, and heated rear window. The window has an element which switches itself off automatically after 10 minutes to reduce load on the engine. So here it is. Again, we're not getting any sort of wheel covers on there, but we are getting some kind of a little bit of a protective strip. We don't get the proper Fiesta big mouldings down the side. We just get this little unusual little strip going down the side, which looks a little bit unusual. But we are getting door mirrors on driver and passenger doors now, which is certainly nice to see. We are getting them head restraints, and we're getting a rear wash wipe as well. We may come back to some more of the features and options at the end of this episode. But moving to the next picture, a glimpse inside, we can roughly see the dash. We are getting more switch gear on there for sure. We're getting the headrest, which I think is what it's really showing here. But we don't get the nice comfortable headrest. We just get this sort of A-frame type design. And then we move up to the Fiesta L. Straight away you can see we get nicer headrests. Still no wheel trims, surprisingly though. But certainly it is a big step up from the Popular Plus. I think a lot of people, the L was really where the range properly started in many ways. It tells us 4 engine choices and high levels of trim and equipment take the Fiesta concept a step further. Let's see what the text has to say. It tells us Ford knows that new car buyers appreciate the chance to choose an engine and transmission combination that will suit their particular needs. So the Fiesta L's specifications can be tailored like a Savile Row suit. There's a choice of 5 engines and transmission systems to go with the new wind cheating body, which you can hardly read because of that plant. They start with the frugal 957cc power unit, which feeds in 45 PS to the front wheels through a smooth changing 4-speed gearbox. And like I say, I think by 1985 even the lowly models of Fiesta really should have had a 5-speed box really. Next come the 1.1 litre. The size and shape may be familiar, but like the 957cc unit, it belies a major redesign. To achieve outstanding economy, it can be specified with a 4-speed gearbox with computer optimized ratios, or the long striding 5-speed. That is one of the 1984 Fiesta's many important innovations. So I think it's worth moving up to that to get the 5-speed box for sure. Excellent economy and vivid performance are provided by the 1.3 CVH compound valve hemispherical head engine, which comes complete with the 5-speed transmission. It develops a crisp 69 PS and makes the Fiesta L a 100 miles per hour car. A superb blend of performance and truly astonishing economy is the hallmark of the Fiesta L, fitted with Ford's remarkable new 1.6 litre diesel engine. It comes from the Dagenham factory, where unprecedented quality standards are maintained by skilled technicians and space-age machines. The engine's vital statistics, including 74.3 miles per gallon at a constant 56 miles per hour and 56.5 miles per gallon in simulated city traffic. That's quite amazing, isn't it? Like the 1.3 power unit, it has a 5-speed gearbox as standard. The L's exterior is distinguished by wide body side mouldings and a driver's door mirror adjustable from inside the car. Inside, the Fiesta becomes even more versatile thanks to a 60-40 split rear seat. Either part can be folded to make room for exceptionally long or bulky loads without losing all the passenger space. I think certainly it was worth moving up to that alone, surely. The fleece carpet is colour keyed to harmonise with the 5-seat material, and the front seats have padded, fully adjustable head restraints. A neat console with a push-button radio is standard. Options include tinted glass and metallic paint. A peek inside certainly gives us a chance to look at some nicer looking seats and full door cards, and a little bit of a storage bin down the bottom there as well by the looks of it. Head restraints certainly look a lot nicer now. And then a glance on the main image. Like I said, we've got this big body side mouldings, which were great, for, of course, for those supermarket car parks. But again, we don't even get a wheel trim, surprisingly enough. So moving up the range at this time didn't mean moving to a GL in a Ghia. It went moving straight from an L to a Ghia, which I always thought was a little bit weird. It almost felt like that's a big jump to a Ghia from an L, isn't it? But I guess because they had the Popular and Popular Plus, they found, or they felt like there were enough models in the range already. But I always thought that was a little bit peculiar. But moving up to the Ghia, we get this sort of like a 2-colour or lower dark panel at the bottom, which certainly changed the look of it, as well as this different look to the bumper. And we do get wheel trims. It says Fiesta Ghia, how to combine big car luxury and performance with the Fiesta's small car economy. Let's read the text. So nice to see the Ghia badge there, which would have been on the front wing, and I think at this time the Ghia badge really meant something. If you could afford to spend a bit more of a Ghia, I think you would have done, just to show the neighbours if nothing else. But there was always something about a Ford with the Ghia badge on in the 80s, I think, and certainly in the 70s. The Fiesta Ghia may be small bumper to bumper, but it brings king-sized luxury to the new version of Ford's best-selling baby. Thanks to the coveted Ghia treatment, it offers the first-class atmosphere normally associated with much bigger and more expensive cars. And it offers the best of both worlds, outstanding comfort and sophistication with excellent day-to-day economy and low running costs. Riding on attractively trimmed 5x13 wheels with 155/70 SR radial tyres. The Ghia has special bumpers, stone deflectors for the wheel arches, PVC type paint under the body side mouldings, and a host of other external features that make it stand out in a crowded street, including a tailgate opened by simply pressing a switch on the console or the center console. And then before we read any further, that is how it would be badged if you got a Fiesta Ghia 1.3. All of the fancy. So it goes on to tell us we get carpeted rear seat backs and sidewalls, fully carpeted rear boot, and a load compartment lamp with courtesy switch, tinted glass, a screened glass sunroof, and a 4-speaker radio cassette player with joystick balance control emphasise the Ghia's status. So do the velour flanked Savoy and crushed velour seat covers, the velour carpet, cloth trimmed door panels, comprehensive instrumentation that includes a tachometer, roof mounted multifunction clock, and extra vents for the powerful new heating and ventilation system. What goes under that elegant aerodynamic body? There's a choice between the 1.1 engine with 50 PS and the 1.3 unit, which develops 69 PS for even more performance allied to surprising economy. The 1.3 standard 5-speed gearbox is optional with the 1.1 engine. Small but significant details include a handy coin rack, a reminder that even the Ghia can't avoid parking meters. There we go, very amusing. But don't you think that's a huge jump from an L? That's why I always thought maybe a Ghia would have fitted nicely in there, but Ford didn't like that idea, obviously. Moving on to have a look at the images. So the inside is always the big thing with Ghias, of course. The seats, much nicer material, of course. This also gives a little bit of a look at the rear seats of the Ghia. Again, much nicer seats, but it's also demonstrating that 60-40 split. And there's a look of it in this rather pleasant metallic blue colour. I think it certainly looks a lot different when you add this lower darker panel, and also these front bumpers certainly look a lot nicer. And we don't even consider alloy wheels, because now we've got wheel covers on. That straight away looks much more upmarket from the rest of the models, without even saying maybe it should have had alloy wheels. No, in this case, wheel trims really make it stand out. A zoom in to look at those bumpers. Now we've got that bright inserts for a little bit more luxury look, and of course those sorts of built-in overriders. Hard to see the Ghia badge because it's kind of like on the crease there, but that's where it falls I should say. More sort of bright work on it overall, but I certainly think the Ghia was a big step up. Anyway, let's move on. So moving up, or not necessarily moving up, but moving to a more sportier model, the XR2. Like I said, my favourite Fiesta at the time, although I think I would have been quite happy with the Ghia actually. It's quite a nice model at this time, but certainly this is kind of the iconic 80s car, isn't it? Fiesta XR2, tame it if you can. Let's have a look at the text. Ford's hard-charging Fiesta XR2 is a little car with a big heart. Strong and sophisticated, potent and practical. Its free-revving 1597cc engine punches out a smooth 96 PS at 6,000 RPM to give the scintillating Super Mini a true sports car performance. The standard 5-speed gearbox, superb suspension and grippy low-profile tyres transmit the power so efficiently that 60 miles per hour can be reached from a standing start in only 8.7 seconds, which actually is reasonably respectable, really, isn't it, at this time, 8.7 seconds. That probably felt quicker, of course, because it's a small car as well, but I think that's quite respectable, really. The XR2's vivid acceleration is complemented by an adrenaline pumping top speed of 112, again, not bad for the time. Motorway driving is effortless and economical because 70 miles per hour in the tall fifth gear keeps the tachometer needle down to just 3,000 RPM. Mechanical efficiency and the Fiesta's slippery shape, enhanced by front and rear spoilers, combine to conserve fuel. The official test figures include 49.6 miles per gallon at a steady 56 and 37.7 miles per gallon at a steady 75, so fuel economy is still pretty good. Suspension is of course modified to make the most of the XR2's potent power unit. There's a rear anti-roll bar to go with the rear axles, trailing arms, panhard rod, coil springs and uprated dampers. That's the formula for superb road holding and the wonderfully crisp, responsive handling qualities demanded by enthusiastic drivers. Night driving is made easier by a pair of long-range front driving lamps, a very much Ford tradition of putting those on the sportier models. Sporting characteristics are not achieved at the expense of comfort. Ford engineers drawing on experience gained in races and rallies all over the world, endowed the XR2 with a ride that's firm and capable of absorbing punishment dished out when poor road surfaces are taken at speed. They also matched the fast-moving Fiesta power with an efficient or equally efficient braking system, whose specifications include big fade-fighting ventilation discs for the front wheels. The wheels themselves are shod with 185/60 HR radials. Smart functional styling is matched by an interior ideal for everything from day-long journeys to swift shopping safaris. The seats, trimmed in rainbow cloth, provide excellent lumbar support plus plenty of lateral location when the Fiesta tackles roads liberally laced with tricky corners. Other features on the XR2 include a neat small diameter steering wheel with a soft feel rim, a two-tone horn and a grey perforated headlining. The Fiesta's big bore exhaust sings a splendid song, but thanks to additional soundproofing, the standard 4-speaker RST 21p audio system can be appreciated to the full. Options include 3 seat belts for the surprisingly spacious rear compartments. Their availability is a reminder that the Fiesta XR2 is a versatile family-size hatchback as well as a sizzling little sports car. So there you go, a peep on the inside of this XR2. Steering wheel a little bit unusual. I don't know how I felt about the steering wheel, and I always thought maybe a bit more colours, a few more stripes might have livened it up a little bit, but nevertheless a bit more of a sporty look than the other models. I think the extra bits on the outside was really what it was all about. These sort of extra little aero bits and pieces certainly made it look more sporty, and of course the red inserts on the bumpers. It does say Fiesta XR2 on the back there, but you can barely see it because it's in red and it's a red car. So there we go, lovely look on the outside, very iconic alloy wheels actually, aren't they? And of course sporty and Ford, you had to put driving lights on there. Overall, I think Ford were really clever, weren't they? The little add-ons and bits that certainly made it stand out from the rest of the Fiesta range. So that takes us to the specifications. I don't think I'm going to read it all actually, because the video is certainly moving on a bit, but I'll certainly move the camera so we can have a look at it and you can read it if you want to. But it also gives the optional extras and the prices of the optional extras and the colours. And down here somewhere it gives the price, so we'll go through that one at a time. Starting with the popular, telling you, your popular standard features, engineering exterior on this side. This is kind of like your interior features that it gets. I'm just going to move the camera down though. It continues with more sort of exterior features going down this side. And interior features, but then like I say, what I wanted to concentrate on was optional features. So options on your base popular were a heated rear window with auto switch off for £81.20, a tailgate wash wipe £101.37, and extra cover. So a reminder that base model didn't even come with a heated rear window, never mind a tailgate wash wipe. So yeah, then it gives you the colours and pattern trim. The pattern trim called Bristol, solid colours of diamond white, cameo beige, Rosso red, lacquer red, cedar green and ceramic blue and ocean blue. All of the blues. Now if you just don't mind me just throwing this camera down to the bottom of the page, it does give you the price for the popular. Total price £3,846.78. Let's do the same with the popular plus. So moving up to the Popular Plus, obviously the big thing about the Popular Plus is you got a little bit of an engine choice at least, 950 or the 1.1, or if you did really want it, you could have it as a diesel. A few of the specs there on the right hand side for the interior, and then moving down the exterior as well. I suppose I should put all the rest of that in the shot as well if anyone is pausing to read the full thing. But like I say, the main thing I really want to have a look at are those optional features for the Popular Plus. So extra £90 you can have black paint, £105 you can have metallic paint. In-car entertainment, push button radio, MWLWP21, £82.20. That wasn't even an option on the Popular, was it? And the other option there is seat belts, 2 rear lap, diagonal inertia and 1 lap centre. Static, £100. Paint choice. We can have metallics now, I think is the big difference there. So we can have, and they're all in Lorenzo trim this time, but solid colours of diamond white, cameo beige, Rosso red, lacquer red, cedar green, ceramic blue, ocean blue, and now we can have black for an extra cost item. And we can have the metallics of strato silver, quartz gold, nimbus grey, jade green, Paris blue, mineral blue, and imperial red. And at the bottom there, the price guide. Obviously there's variations for the price for the Popular Plus because there's 3 different engine models. So £4,268 for the 950, £4,489 for the 1.1, and £5,110 for the diesel. So the diesel almost £1,000 more than the 950 Popular Plus. So you really did, have to do a lot of miles to save that £1,000, I'm sure, and not the most exciting motor. And of course, the diesel usually costs a little bit more to service, so the choice is yours. The only thing I couldn't understand about the diesel is who was actually driving so many miles in a Fiesta to actually need the diesel. But anyway, let's move on to the L. So taking us up to the L now brings about that 1.3, so you can have your 1.3 Fiesta now. Of course, a 5-speed box on the 1.3 and 1.6, so the 1.3 5-speed I think probably would have been my choice just for that extra gear more than anything else really. And it brings such things as a push button radio, of course, as we saw. Again, I'm not going to read all this information, but I'll just slowly move the camera down just in case anyone particularly wanted to read the full list of features for whatever reason. Whatever you want to do that for, that's not a problem at all. And then just the final bit of the interior down the bottom there. But like I said, let's move to the optional features, see what you could get. So optional features, so you can get a 5-speed gearbox on the 1.1 if you wanted for £142.53. If I wanted the 1.1, I think I probably would have paid that little bit extra. £90 for black, £105 for metallic, and now in-car entertainment, you can move on to quite a fancy one now. Push button radio, MWLW stereo cassette RST21P with 4-speaker and joystick speaker balance control. A nice little optional feature if you didn't want to move up to the gear, of course. Tinted glass, £48. Those seat belts, £100. And now you can actually have a sunroof, which was tilting and removable for £147. I probably would have missed that. Never a fan of those type of sunroofs. Colours, again, diamond white, cameo beige, Rosso red, lacquer red, cedar green, ceramic blue, ocean blue, and of course black for extra money. And of course your metallics of strato silver, quartz gold, nimbus grey, jade green, Paris blue, mineral blue, and of course imperial red. Prices. Once again, prices mean a variation for the L as we've got different engines. So £4,668 for your 950, £4,889 for your 1.1, £5,336 for the 1.3 with the 5-speed box, and £5,494 for your diesel with the 5-speed box. So into a luxury model, and a luxury model means now we can no longer get a 950 because that wasn't good enough to be called a Ghia. And gone is the diesel, dirty diesel. We can't have a dirty diesel with a posh fancy Ghia badge is possibly what they were saying at the time, but certainly a lot more features on the Ghia, as you'll notice as I move the camera down. and the list is a lot longer. I prefer these sort of lists when they just say with the Popular Plus but the following features added on, rather than just continuously repeating all the same things. But lots of extras on your Ghia, like those fancier bumpers with those overriders on there, etc. And all the interior features, which just goes on and on and on. Notice we get the joystick controlled push button radio on the Ghia as standard. And the optional extras, you could get optional extras even on the Ghia, like the 5-speed box on the 1.1. Strange, wouldn't it, to have a 1.1 Ghia with a 4-speed box? Certainly worth paying the extra if you didn't want to move up to a 1.3. Black paint, £90 extra. Metallic paint, £105 extra. And then you've got some choices there for in-car entertainment for your Ghia. You could get a push-button stereo radio MW/LW VHF stereo cassette SRT 32p for just another £54.06, or move up still further with a push button all electronic multi-feature stereo radio MW/LW VHF stereo cassette ECU1, £186.16, so not a cheap one. Wonder how many people really wanted that extra for your musical entertainment. Again, you can get those seat belts, extra £100, and extra cover is extra as well. Colour choices: diamond white, cameo beige, Rosso red, lacquer red, cedar green, ceramic blue, ocean blue, and black. And those metallics, I think you possibly needed a metallic for your fancy Ghia: Strato silver, quartz gold, Nimbus grey, jade green, Paris blue, mineral blue, and imperial red. So the prices for the Ghia: 1.1 Ghia £5,510.85, 1.3 Ghia £5,957.38. So finally, your XR2 does come in with a 1 engine, so a 1.6 litre engine with a 5-speed gearbox. Again, a whole list of bits and pieces that they actually threw on the XR2, particularly on the outside, making for another very long list of features. Not quite as long as the Ghia, of course, but still quite a bit of stuff on there. I always think the optional extras is the interesting part though, particularly for the XR2. So we get black, it's £90, metallic £105, and then we can get a sunroof, that tilting removable glass, £147. Tinted glass all round, which you kind of think it probably would have, was an extra £48.44. But always the bit that surprises me the most: wheels, those alloy wheels were not standard on an XR2, £146.15. Well, you found that a lot of them did have those alloy wheels. Whether the dealer just threw them on there and added that extra amount on there, I'm not sure, but the alloy wheels were really part of that look, and I think they should have been on there. In-car entertainment, so a push-button stereo radio stereo cassette, £54, and a push-button all-electronic multi-feature stereo radio stereo cassette, £186.16. Those seat belts, an extra £100. So your colours for your XR2 were a little bit more limited actually. So the solid colours with that rainbow trim, diamond white, Rosso red, and black was it for your solid colours. Your metallic colours, Strato silver, Nimbus grey, and Paris blue was the only metallic colours you could choose. And then your price for your XR2 was quite surprising, because it's the exact same price at this time as the Ghia. Obviously that wasn't a coincidence, obviously they've made you want to choose there. So your 1.6 XR2 was £5,957.38, the exact same price as a 1.3 litre Ghia. So I guess it was making you choose there between luxury and sporty. what would you go for? Now, of course, if you threw those alloy wheels on, which you probably should have done, it would make it more expensive than the Ghia, of course. But look at this little note at the bottom here. Steel wheels on the XR2 will not be available during December and January. During this period, all XR2s will be supplied with alloy wheels at extra cost. So if you ordered an XR2, whether you chose the alloy wheels or not, they threw them on there. You had no choice but to accept that as an extra for £146 or whatever that was. So unusual, isn't it? Why didn't they just say alloy wheels are standard and increase the price by that much? I'm not sure why, and I'm not sure why during December and January the steel wheels were not available. A little bit unusual. So there we go, that takes us to the end of our first episode of this new series. Escort coming next week, so keep an eye out for that. But this week, thank you for watching Quarterline and the Fiesta. Let me know what your favourite model of the Fiesta range was at this time. For me, it was the XR2, although I don't know what it is. I'm always interested in those really bargain basement populars and the lack of equipment on there. But we'll end by saying, as we always do, please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. And you can also become a member now if you want. We'll end with this lovely shot of the XR2 and the end of probably what is the longest episode we've done on Quarterline. I didn't really do too much to try and shorten this one. I just thought I'll throw it all out there for you. So if you got to this point, thank you so much for watching the full episode. It really is appreciated and really helps the channel, even if you just watch the episode to the end. Please do take care. We'll see you very soon. Next week, the Escort, other episodes of other makes and models during the week, of course. Take care and goodbye.